So welcome to December Chief Exec Shout Out. I'm really delighted to be in this really busy hall here at the Leisure Centre, where, as you can see in the background, we are in full flow of delivering vaccines for our lovely over 80s. It's been a little while since we did our last Chief Exec Shout Out, and I'm sure you appreciate just being out and about at the moment is quite difficult. But last time it was my great pleasure to be with the laboratories, where the staff there had gone above and beyond to make sure that all of our staff testing, patient testing was really absolutely on the money to make sure that we could keep everybody as safe as possible. And they continue to do great work. And since then, we've also had lateral flow testing that has come to Derriford. And a huge thank you to everyone for really making that work so well and so effectively. But actually it feels really fitting, just as we enter the end of 2020, a year that has been like no other, we can end the year on a more hopeful note, ready for 2021. And the hope, I think, is about the work we've been doing to tackle coronavirus. We'll be talking in a minute to Gary Minto, who's our Director of Research, about the vaccine trials we've been running. But also Derriford was one of 50 hospitals to start the rapid rollout of vaccines, both for our frontline staff, but also for our over 80s. And a whole team have been involved in making sure that that works really well, despite some of the operational challenges. So everything starts with the first patient, and I'm absolutely delighted that I've got Emma who's joining me today. So Emma has been leading a lot of this work, and Emma was the nurse that gave the vaccine to our first patient, Dennis Line, here earlier in December, and many more patients have gone through the vaccines since then. So Emma, I am really delighted that you're able to spend a bit of time with me today, and what an amazing event we've got going on.
Great, isn't it?
Incredible, and it's been 24/7, I know, really hard work. But what I really want to ask you is, what did it feel like to be vaccinating the first patient with this vaccination in Plymouth? What did it feel like to be the nurse doing that?
Well, do you know what? To start with, I mean, I was quite relaxed, and it wasn't until I started drawing up the actual vial to mix the vaccination that it dawned on me. Not only did I have everybody and cameras surrounding me, but actually that this was really momentous, and actually it was quite historical. And then the nerves just came over me. I couldn't even draw the saline up initially. And it threw me back 25 years when I was a student nurse, when I did my first depot injection, and I really had to kind of take a deep breath. But as soon as I met Dennis, who was the first patient, he just put me at ease, and it was just like any other patient, very relaxed. And actually, I think it wasn't until the end of the day, when the whole team reflected on what we had actually done and achieved, we actually all really felt very proud. You know, everybody was saying, oh, we're going to go home and tell our grandkids, and it was really special. And I think they'd all agree, everybody in the team, that is the day that we won't forget. We never thought it was going to come, and then the next minute we were vaccinating people, and we all had a buzz. We thought, you know, we're coming to the end now. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. So it was really special.
So tell me about Dennis. It's lovely that he put you at your ease. Tell me about him.
He was a really cheeky chappy. He was very relaxed about having the vaccine. He wasn't nervous at all. He seemed very eager to talk about his golf. Even invited me to go and play golf with him. And at the end he asked if we would give him a shot of whiskey as a reward, which obviously we couldn't honour, but he was a really pleasant man.
That's lovely, and I love the way patients are just so much part of our services, are they, and helping us at ease. So it's been a huge amount talked about nationally, hasn't it? And I can, you know, lots of coverage. I mean, this isn't just something in this country. We're like one of the first in the world. I mean, that is just momentum Did that feel like a lot of pressure, or did it feel more like you're at the vanguard of something?
More like we just wanted to get the vaccines in people, and when we were hearing people's stories about how the last 9 months have been from them, it was really moving and actually quite emotional, hearing some of the elderly and the impact that coronavirus has had on them. They've had very little interaction with the outside world. They're too scared to go outside. So when you're giving them the vaccine, it really felt like you were making a difference to their lives. So that was really, really special.
I mean, that sounds just so touching, because you forget, don't you, that a lot of older people have been isolating for many months, and I think that sense of hope is quite literally, isn't it, a shot of optimism and hope in the arm, which is just brilliant. So it's been great to talk to you. I just wanted to say thank you to you and your team, and know that you will be part not just of Plymouth history and Derriford history, but history of the world. And I think this has just been brilliant, isn't it, in terms of everything that we're doing here. So keep up the good work, and a special Chief Exec shout out to you and your team. Thank you. So Derriford's been leading the way in a number of ways, not just about actually giving the vaccine, but played a really important part throughout November and December about developing vaccine trials. So throughout this period, we have been one of the global sites for developing a vaccine, a research phase 3 program. And in order to do that, we've had an amazing 4,000 volunteers come forward, and hundreds of people put through the trial. And I'm really delighted that we've got Gary Minto here, who's the Director of Research and Development, to tell us a little bit more about the trial, how we got here and what's happening. So Gary, this is a trial that's taking place across the world.
Yes.
And have we got it right? Have we got 4,000 volunteers and 300 people that have been randomised?
Yeah, actually, we've been asked by the company running this particular trial if we'll recruit 500 people to this trial, and so far we're just under 400, but we've had, as you say, about 4,000 people locally volunteer to come and take part. It's been an amazing response. The British approval for this trial only came through on Wednesday, the 11th of November, and Derriford started recruiting on Monday the 16th, and we've been going ever since. We enrolled the first patient in the world to this trial, and we're still at the moment the leading site in terms of recruitment numbers. It's been amazing. Amazing teamwork on the part of the team delivering the study, amazing support from the Trust through things like communications to the local population and through us being able to use this facility to deliver the trial, but mostly amazing due to the community that we serve. People have come forward in their droves to volunteer, and we're working through a long list of volunteers, and we won't get to everyone. We've got enough people booked in now to carry out the trial to the target levels that Janssen asked us to. But we want people to stay interested and stay in the trial because it's really, really important to keep developing this quiver of treatments that can prevent COVID.
So I think it's amazing that right here in Plymouth, at Derriford, in our hospital, we are one of the leading recruiting sites in the whole world.
Absolutely.
And I think we often don't remember that.
Yes.
And that's brilliant. But just help me understand, we're already rolling out a vaccine.
Yeah.
Why do we need another one? What are the benefits of that?
That's a really important question. I mean, the simple answer is you can't rely on one or two pharma companies to produce and then distribute COVID vaccine for the entire world. But more than that, it's likely that different subgroups of people will get a benefit or more of a benefit from different vaccines. But there's also the kind of really important issue that vaccination isn't a binary thing. Just like the flu, where people need to have a different vaccine every year, we don't know how long these vaccines might last for once they are given, and it may be that certain of the products gives much longer protection against COVID or broader protection against COVID. All that is still to be found out. So it's really important that we keep investigating new products and new different types of prophylactic treatments as they come on the scene.
So just really simply explain to me a little bit about the subgroups. What sort of people are we talking about? What sort of conditions or issues might they have? And how's that wrapped up in this trial?
Well, the whole point of these trials, Anne, is to check the safety of the vaccines first and foremost, that they're not dangerous for people to have, but then, of course, that they actually work to protect people against COVID. And what you therefore want in trials is representation of groups of people who are at particular risk of developing severe COVID. So you'd want people in your trials who are elderly or from the Black, Asian and some minority ethnic groups. So we're really focusing still on people between the ages of 60 and 70 who've got controlled medical conditions or are well. People older than that are welcome to be part of this trial if they feel confident that they wouldn't take up the vaccine if offered. And then, of course, our own hospital staff who are not in frontline clinical roles, who therefore are not likely to be offered a authorized vaccine such as the one being given here in the next few months. Again, it would be great to be able to offer our office workers at Derriford, for instance, or people in the labs the chance to come and be part of this trial.
That's really helpful, and I think what it really shows is how much we are dependent upon individuals really wanting to commit. That's about the human spirit, isn't it, and the great community that we've got in Plymouth. Now, I know with everything we do in the Trust, it is all a team effort, and to have got to that nearly 500 in, 8 weeks or so is incredible,
yes,
absolutely incredible. So if you were to sum up what your R&D team have done to get us to that point, what are their magic ingredients? What's their Christmas sparkle to do that?
The Christmas sparkle is the great teamwork and the great commitment to the greater good. So people have gone above and beyond, as you would always hope, but this year has really provided our team an opportunity to show what they will do under conditions of duress to try and improve things for the world. And our R&D members have done that in droves, absolutely gone the extra mile, just as have the people who are delivering the mass vaccination program. Across the Trust, the people who have been looking after COVID patients all year and now who are involved in vaccination programs are going above and beyond and continuing to do so. And that's Plymouth, that's the West Country, that's what we're famous for.
That's brilliant. So Gary, thank you very much, and to your team, absolute special Chief Exec shout out for this amazing pioneering work that actually really puts Plymouth on the global map.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So we're now going to move to some of our favourite tweets and social media that we've had the pleasure to enjoy over the last couple of months. Just before the last lockdown, I was due to go to Brent and Crown Hill wards to do a special Chief Exec shout out to them. During the COVID time, both Brent and Crown Hill teams have been outstanding. We've moved some of the Brent services over to the Nuffield, and for all sorts of reasons, not all of the staff could move with those services. And a very similar situation for Crown Hill, where we needed to close Crown Hill services and move them to different parts of the hospital. And as a result of that, staff weren't always kept together, and that they've been moved to different areas and different wards. And I just really wanted to say a huge thank you both to Brent and Crown Hill, but also to all of our staff who I know really enjoy working in teams, but sometimes we're not able to keep those teams together as we try to really make the best use of the space that we've got in the hospital, provide as good a pathways as we can for patients' care, and make sure that while we've also had staff who've been off poorly, that we've maintained safe staffing levels across the Trust as much as we can. but Brent and Crown Hill staff in particular have had a really, really tough and disruptive time. So although I haven't filmed myself there, we are going to go and talk to the 2 ward managers now, and they're going to say a little bit about their experiences. Both wards have got their Chief Exec shout out plaque, and I'm really grateful for how they've really just mucked in, supported each other, even if they've not been in the same place.
I understand it was a tough time for everyone working in the Trust, but we have all had to make adjustments in this time. I am incredibly proud of all the work my staff provided, no matter where they were, as some were moved to Nuffield and some stayed in Derriford. Our patients associate having their treatment with Brent Ward, so for them to have to adapt to a different environment, it was amazing. Again, it is very nice to receive this award on behalf of Brent and our chemotherapy outpatient department. I would like to take this opportunity to wish all our patients and Trust staff a very Merry Christmas.
Good afternoon, I'm Sister Flanagan, Ward Manager of Crown Hill. I'm very proud to receive the Chief Executive Shout Out Award today on behalf of Crown Hill Ward team. It's been a very difficult past few months, and the staff have been coping admirably because we have moved wards about 3 or 4 times, just like the other members of the Trust. So thank you, Sue Johnson, for nominating Crown Hill for this award. And we'd like to wish you a Merry Christmas.
So at the time of filming, and when I look back over 2020, one of the things I'm really, really pleased about is the way in which our 5 staff networks have really, really taken off. I've always been committed to making sure that staff have got a voice and that there are true partners at Derriford, and I think we're making some really good progress. We've got at the moment 5 staff networks, and we're also just about to start a discussion for men as well, and Nick Thomas will be leading that. Our networks are for Black, Asian and minority ethnic groups, for disability and wellbeing, for LGBTQ plus groups, and also faith and belief. So we've got 5 groups in total, and of course not forgetting the Women's Network. So each of the 5 networks has got a Chief Executive Champion, and I'm really pleased that 3 out of the 5 groups have already got their own chairs and deputy chairs, and the role of the Exec Champion is then to just make sure that there's a direct line of communication to the board about those issues and what matters to you. The reason why I think this is so important, and it's really come out through the Women's Network, and I've heard this firsthand, is how much inclusion, diversity and equality matters to all of us. And those groups are there because that they are perhaps feeling the most disadvantaged in the workplace and in our local communities. So 2021, we'll be amplifying those voices, we'll be turning them up loud and clear, and we'll be making changes across the Trust to really make sure that those issues are addressed, and this can be and will be the very best place to work and to be part of one big team. So that brings our December 2020 Chief Exec shout out to an end. And as we look towards the end of this year, I want to just say a few words to thank you all very much. I know it's been a really, really difficult year, and colleagues have worked incredibly hard under the most pressing and difficult of circumstances, not just here at Derriford, but across our wider communities. Pandemic has affected every aspect of our life. But as I start to think about the new year, I am only filled with hope and optimism and a real sense of pride about Derriford. We've got a vaccine. You have done incredibly well to keep each other and our patients safe. And as we look to 2021, we know it's going to be tough for the first few months, and that you're tired and that you've worked so hard. But I want to give you our 100% commitment that we're there for you, for our patients, and that we are getting through this. There is a way through this, and I can only think of all the really, really positive things that we've got to look forward to in 2021. So at my January Chief Exec shout out, when I can be out and about a bit more, I just want to be spending a bit of time telling you about those things that will really lift your hearts and give you hope about the future for our services and how lucky we are to have each other as great, great colleagues. So thank you to all who are working over the festive period. For others, I hope you have some rest, a safe Christmas, a happy new year, and here's to a much better 2021.